Hi, my name is Paul Redstone, the developer of Scanner Plus for Dynamics CRM. If you have to handle many paper documents and want to scan them into CRM, you should definitely consider Scanner Plus. It is fast and simple. This video shows how easy it is to install and configure Scanner Plus for Dynamics CRM. It does not show you how to scan. Other videos show that. I recommend you start with a quick intro video which shows you how to scan, then this video which shows you the configuration process. Here is the sequence of events to install and configure Scanner Plus. You can have it up and running in minutes. We'll be running through these here. First, download the installer, then run it on a workstation, ideally one with a scanner so you can check it out. This is an absolutely standard Windows installation procedure. The installer not only installs the basic program, but also solutions for different versions of CRM in both managed and unmanaged forms. Simply choose the one you want and import into CRM. You then run Scanner Plus, enter credentials and connect to CRM. Scanner Plus detects this is a new system and sets up sensible defaults. You can then configure it some more, add a license and use the defaults. The rest of the video shows you how to do this in more detail. Downloading and running the installer is trivial. There's no need to show that. It behaves like other Windows installers. You typically need to be an administrator to do this. The installation creates some folders with names corresponding to various versions of CRM, shown here. Choose whichever is relevant. In each folder, you will find two solutions, one managed and one unmanaged. Use whichever you want and import into CRM and publish. If you do not know how to do this, ask for help. Let's look at what this looks like in CRM. The solution creates a couple of entities, one which holds settings and the other used purely for auto numbering. It also creates two security roles. The Scanner Plus Scanner User role is used to enable all users who will actually be doing scanning. All users who are to scan, including system administrators, need to be added to this. It is recommended that you add yourself to the Scanner User role at least during the installation process, as this allows you to test scanning. The Scanner Plus Administrator role is used to allow users who are not system administrators to make changes to the Scanner Plus settings. You may not need to use this role at all. The solution also includes some simple plugins. These are used to enforce some security and for auto numbering. Next, you need to start Scanner Plus. As this is the first time you've connected on that PC, it will prompt for credentials. You can select the appropriate connection type, enter your username and password. Then click to get the organization list. Select your appropriate organization, click to test, and you're fine. If using SharePoint, you can also do the same for SharePoint here with the same credentials or different ones. You then restart Scanner Plus, it will connect to CRM and automatically pre-populate a set of default settings. Let's take a look at the settings. Click on the settings button. The tabs you see are the same for all users, but only system administrators and users with the Scanner Plus Administrator role can change most of them. The first tab here can be amended by all users and allows the default scanner to be set and the default units. We'll look at some other tabs, the most important ones first. The License tab lets you enter a license if you have one. If not, no problem, Scanner Plus still works but runs in evaluation mode. If you have purchased a full license or a time-limited evaluation one, you can paste the license here. But the most important tab, and also the most complex, is Entities. This lets you configure which entities can have scanned images linked to them and how they are stored and processed. The first screen here shows a summary. By default, only the account and contact entities are able to store scanned images, but you can add any of those shown in the left-hand box. So, for example, opportunity. Then for each one, you can select it and then edit the detailed settings. Let's look at the contact entity. For each entity, we have 3 tabs. The first dealing with how records are located, the search methods. The 3 methods of searching are covered in the quick intro video. The first 2, searching for a record and using recently viewed records, work out of the box and allows Scanner Plus to do a quick view search or to look at the most recently used records of that type in CRM. The third one requires some simple CRM configuration. We cover this later. On this tab, you can also specify which field is used as the name or identity field. For example, for a person, this might be their full name, but it also could be a field such as the account number. It also lets you specify the view to be used when showing the results of a search. The Storage tab lets you determine how the scan image is to be stored. There are currently 6 options, though we will be adding more in the future. The default is to store the scan as a notes attachment linked to the entity. Very straightforward. The second one is to store the scan in the same way against the main entity, but also to create an activity record linked to it. Typically, this is used in the business process which handles the scan. For example, you might want to create a letter. We'll make the letter of type open, that's status reason, which determines the status. And then the letter can be created, could have a workflow attached to it, and so on. The third option is very similar, but in this case, the document is linked to the activity instead of to the main record. So exactly the same way. The 3 other storage types are the same as the first 3, but the scan is stored in a SharePoint record linked to the appropriate entity. This is only available if document management is configured for that entity in CRM. Remember that all of these options are specific to the entity type in CRM. So you could have different settings, say for an opportunity and an account. There are some subtleties associated with this screen. In particular, you can use categories. This allows a scanning user to specify the value of a field on the scan screen, which is then stored in the activity. For example, categories might be new account, complaint, closing account, etc. You can select the account here. I'll select an actual field called category. In this case, this is a text field, so I have to specify the drop-down list in Scanner Plus. And so on. If I selected an option set field here, then the drop-down list is read dynamically from CRM. This screen also lets you specify who is the owner of the scanned record, and for activities, down here, the subject. You can also choose to store metadata describing the scan in the activity description. The third Entity tab lets you specify a workflow to be automatically attached to the entity which holds the scan. This is very useful to initiate automatic processes. For example, an incoming letter flagged as category account closing could be routed to an account retention team as high priority. The list of workflows here is read dynamically from CRM. Another important settings tab is the file name one. This lets a Scanner Plus administrator set the name of the file to be saved. This can include some or all of the date and time, and also a counter. So here all of these are ticked, which is what you would normally use, and there is the name of the document. Normally the user is allowed to edit the file name, but this can be disabled here. This tab also allows you to specify that the user is prompted to confirm that the record is to be saved. The User Defaults tab allows an administrator to specify the defaults for all scans for all users. This can also be used to prevent a user from changing them. For example, your organization policy could be that you have PDF as the default scan format, and ticking this box here means that it will force it to be that for all users. A special feature relates to the current record service. This is a means by which Scanner Plus can immediately determine the current record being looked at by a user. This diagram shows how it works. When configured, a JavaScript web resource is run when a record is viewed in a form. This calls the Azure hosted current record web service and notifies it of the IDs of the user, the record type, the record GUID of the record, plus an installation specific license key. No personally identifiable data is passed to this service, and in any case, records older than 30 minutes are deleted every hour. Of course, every site has a different key. When Scanner Plus here needs to determine the current record, it simply calls the web service using the same key which notifies it of the record ID. This shows the script. The license key is shown here. Simply paste the value given to you with your license, save and publish it. There's also a URL given here. This is unlikely to need to be changed, but might do at some time in the future. Then in CRM customization, find any entity for which you want to use current record. Open the appropriate form or forms, click on Form Properties, add the clue Notifier web resource, and in the Event Handler section, in the onload event, add clue notifier calling the function log current record. Make sure you get the case right. In the case of CRM 2016, make sure you tick the pass execution contact as the first parameter. The help manual has more information. Then save and publish as normal. Finally, back in Scanner Plus on the current record tab, we enter the license key and if necessary, amend the URL. Also on the entity settings for that entity, so here saying contact, we need to tick this box to show that we're allowing the current record button to be enabled. And that's it, current record is all configured. The above processes only need to be carried out on the first installation. However, any workstation on which scanning is to be carried out does need the basic installation and program, but the configuration itself is stored in CRM. So these installations only take a few minutes. I hope that this has shown you how easy it is to install and configure Scanner Plus. In fact, many of the steps are optional. You can get your user scanning in as little as 15 minutes. As well as this video, you should see the quick introduction one, which shows what Scanner Plus is like from a normal user point of view. An advanced video is also available to show some scanning features such as rotation and cropping. Thank you for your time. There's more information, including brochures and pricing, available on the Clue Consulting website.